It's the Sidewinder Dragster. They started out in 1958. It's got a 392 Chrysler in it that has a 5.8 strokers running on methane and alcohol and nitro. It's 82% nitro. Okay, great.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead. That's been a year and a half restoring it. New body, new paint, new striping. Got pictures of what the car was way back when, and made it into that.
Ready?
It was over in Long Beach, sitting there. A guy had two big warehouses, and he had a bunch of cars, and they had this one in there. And I spent $95,000 cash to get the first piece of shit.
Wow.
And it's up to about a little over $300,000 I got in it now for time and everything else.
Wow.
It's expensive, and
Yeah.
and when I was racing before, I sold all my motor parts, and I had to spend 10 times that much to get a motor back together. It's crazy for the cost, and chroming, but I love it. I went down to Lions, and I have pictures of it that I took, movies, 8mm movies, and I never thought I'd own it, but it was my favorite car. It had a different sound. When you push down, you can hear the whine of the chain, and then it fires off, and it has its own sound. There's two cars like that. One was the Sidewinder, the other was the freight train. It just chugs along because it had the two Chevy engines in it. Those two were at Lions, they put in those electric starters, put the back wheels on these rollers and get it spinning up. And they let out the clutch on the two engine car, and the lights would go, and it'll fire up and back on. It took all they had to turn over the two motors there. First one hit the ground in March of '58. In '59, they built the second one, which is a little longer and lowered the motor. Then they got in and they wanted to build a mag winder, which is all magnesium. The tubing, the body, everything.
Why did they do a Sidewinder? What was the thinking behind
Because
that?
of the way the engine, get it close to the rear end, and the torque of the motor is going to help you keep it down and go. And in the first Sidewinder, they had center line of the crank with the center line of the wheels. And then the second one, they were going to start running fuel, so they dropped the motor down 4 inches below that center line of the axle. They 59 nationals, they won their class. It won. Lions, most of the time it ran, Lions. And they couldn't touch it.
Anybody else do this? Do the Sidewinder?
No, Gartlett's tried to do it with the gears, and the gears took up more horsepower than what he gained by doing that. Art Malone did another one where he had the axle going through the motor somehow. I don't know how he did that, and put the motor right on the axle. There was a lot of experimentation, but the write-up in this, at the end of '58, they said it was the year of the backyard mechanics. I mean, they did it in their backyard. They just did this crazy thing, and the people that built the chain said, "Oh, that'll never hold up." Well, they did spit a couple of them out, but they had a single chain and they went to a double chain. And for safety reasons, I went ahead and went with the triple chain here. Ted Sear from Sear and Hopper started it. They put their engine in it. Nicolini built it. He built all three of them. But the one that really made it run right was Jack Chrisman. He drove Sidewinder 1, 2, and then he drove the Magwinder. This one was never completed, so it never ran. but it was built by the same guy that built the first two. Quite a car, but you don't get any playbook, you don't get any directions, and you just have to start. There was no brakes, no clutch, the steering was junk. I spent a long year and a half.
Too much fun.